What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy OG Camera Boy again, and today's going to be my final installment on that series that I started about the box of eBay camera parts and lenses that I purchased that were all in 4 parts condition or required repair. And today's going to be the biggest challenge of them all, as a matter of fact. The other things that came in the box, besides the Samsung NX20 bodies and the 12-24 f4-5.6 lens, were 4 kit lenses, the 18-55, and those are a decent lens. I have one actually right now. This is the one that I own, that I purchased when I bought my Samsung NX300 several years ago, and this one here is in practically mint condition, and it's a great lens. And I have 4 others here that are broken for the most part, and I'm gonna try and Frankenstein one together so that I can make one working one from these 4. And this is the lens today that we're going to be working on. And like I said, it's going to be the most precarious of the 3 projects. You know, I'm dealing with the scraps at the end right now. So there's no problems with the elements, there's no hazing, there's no fungus, there's no scratches, or there's no blotching or anything like that with coatings coming off. With one exception, this one here had this lens hood on it when it came in the box, and for the life of me I could not take it off. The lens hood was like absolutely stuck on there until finally I don't know if I got angry with it or whatever, but I thought to myself, well, if it breaks, no big deal, because it's already kind of broken. And I just twisted it like hell and pulled it off. Luckily, nothing about the lens broke, and it did release. And it looks like some idiot put what looks like crazy glue or something, some kind of adhesive, to fix this lens hood to this lens. Why they would do something like that, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. I mean, but that's just a stupid thing. But in any case, because of that, it's got some residue remaining here on the front element ring, and obviously there's a little bit left on this lens hood. And so what I thought is to perhaps try to replace this front element with one of the front elements from, I think it was this one that I was looking at. I could maybe take the front element off of this one, put it onto here. But let me talk about these other lenses for just one split second. The reason I chose this lens is because this lens actually does focus pretty well. It's on autofocus and focuses well. The focus switch on it works from a tactile perspective to switch from autofocus to manual focus. It does switch into manual focus too. I was able to confirm that. So obviously there is some electrical input signal that is being triggered to be able to switch between autofocus and manual focus. So it works like 90% of the way, except you might notice something about it right away that is pretty obvious, is that it's missing a part. And the part that it's missing is the manual focus ring. Now these two, as you can see, I tested these lenses out and they are in disarray. Let me tell you something, there's something really wrong with these lenses. I don't know, they don't focus, they don't work. I get errors when I put them on the camera, so they're not in great shape. And the manual focus rings are, as you can hear, completely loose and broken. So that leaves this one. This one does have the manual focus ring, and I put this one on the camera, and this one has all kinds of problems when it comes to focusing. The autofocus on this does not work well at all. And when I switch it over into manual focus, which you can do via the switch here, and it does switch into manual focus, I do turn the focus ring to see whether or not I can manually focus it, and it doesn't really work. Like, it seems to work in one direction, but not in the other. Meaning to say, if you go past focus, you won't be able to reel it back. So it seems to focus only in one direction on manual focus. Now, does that mean that this manual focus mechanism doesn't work on this lens? It is possible. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually Frankenstein a working lens together as far as like all functions are concerned. My thoughts are, because the autofocus doesn't work on this lens either, it might be a problem with the main board inside this lens, as opposed to the, you know, focus ribbon cable perhaps on the manual focus ring might actually work. It just doesn't communicate well with the main board. Obviously the autofocus doesn't work either. So that's my thought. It is possible. Now I am obviously leaving the door open to the possibility that, you know, I don't have a working manual focus ring. Clearly, of these 3, this is my best shot. In any case, this is the best candidate of one that I can repair. These are the donating lenses. This one actually has nothing to give as far as I can tell. So that's gonna go off to the side. So I'm gonna try and take the manual focus ring off of this one, and I'm gonna try and take the front element off of this one. I'm sort of a little bit skeptical as to whether or not I'll actually be successful in this attempt. The degree of difficulty on this repair versus the other two is much higher, so we'll see. If it is successful, I'll be very happy with that, but if not, then I won't be terribly surprised. Otherwise, what I do have here is a functioning autofocus lens that is missing the manual focus ring and can't work in manual focus, which, you know, if you're given the option, that's the better way to have it as far as I'm concerned. So anyhow, that's the project for today. Let's get to it. Okay, time to get started then. Here's the lens that I'm gonna attempt to fix and bring back to its former glory. So I'm gonna take apart one of the other ones first so that I have a little bit of an idea as to what I'm doing insofar as taking these apart. This one here is actually a bit of an older version. You can see that by the font that's been used. I think this one here goes back to, I have no idea what, maybe 2010. And this is probably a newer one, somewhere around 2012, 13, 14, something in that neighborhood, who knows. But okay, I guess I'm gonna get started on this one. So let's undo some screws. And of course I got my egg cartons here to try and keep everything separate and organized. I'm gonna hazard a guess that on the inside of this, it's a lot more complicated than opening up a vintage lens, which I've done a few times, like I said, just for cleaning them out and servicing them and that sort of thing. But this is obviously going to be more complicated. First thing I could assume right away is that obviously with the metal contacts here, there's going to be a connection to a ribbon cable. So let me open that gently and see. The ribbon cable is actually soldered to the what looks like the main board here, so it is not removable. Huh, okay. But we have other ribbon cables that are, so let's disconnect those. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this being such a pain in the ass because you see you have these delicate little gears here, and this has to line up exactly with those gears. You know, obviously since I'm going deeper, I'm going to actually remove this gear and it's gonna go together here with this one when I set it aside. I guess a good place to start is these screws right here. You know, another nice thing about having something like this with separate compartments, these egg cartons, is that when you take things apart, you disassemble them, you try and keep them in some kind of a linear order so that it gives you an idea of how to put things back together. Something that's going to require some studying. Aha. Now how in the sweet bejesus does that come out? Aha. Like so. Now I noticed on this side, it seems there should have been another one, and there wasn't. Whoop-a-lie. Okay. Well, it comes off all as one piece. Interesting. Okay. That's actually simpler than I thought it would be, as far as getting to the point where I need to be. So here is our manual focus ribbon cable. This is it right here, and that you can see is attached to the manual focus ring here, and it twists like so. I don't know if I was stupid to twist it just like that, or if it had to be left in a certain, you see, because normally you'd have to mark these things. Here's your element group. I don't know how many are in here in this lens. Let me see if I could see anything suspect here that would lead me to believe that there's complications and why this lens perhaps does not work. Alright, well, there are some clips on the inside here. Here, here, and here. And I believe if I release those, it'll come out. Now, I obviously want to be very careful. You know, the other thing is that do I even need to do that? Can I just use this entire component? You know what I mean? I think that would be wise. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do, as a matter of fact. I'm just gonna leave this all together like that. And actually, knowing what I know now about having taken that apart, I'm gonna remove the front element here off of this one so that we have all our parts in order. Now, let's get this element out, this front element. Will this work? Who knows? I really hope it does. If it does, this is gonna be great. Because then from that eBay purchase of broken and parts cameras, I'll have been able to reconstruct 2 working lenses and a camera, which will be fantastic without having to purchase any parts, just by using what I already have and blending them all together. By the way, these tweezers are fantastic, and as a matter of fact, they're for women. They're lash tweezers. They even say lash on them right here. So, but I saw them one time, and the point that they come to is just unbelievable. I have a pair of I have a set of tweezers that I can use for these types of purposes, but I find these superior. To tell you the truth, I thought it was going to be a little more involved than this. I didn't think that I was going to be finishing at this stage. And again, I don't know, I might be wrong. Perhaps taking these parts off and switching them around like that is going to ruin the functionality, because maybe the problem here is in this portion here and not so much the main board, but who knows. I just want to give it a quick look to see that all things are connected and looking to be intact before I commit to this one. And this one, the front element looks pretty clean. I'm not seeing anything that looks damaged here at all. A speck of dust here and there, but it's mostly on the surface from what yeah, it looks to be all on the surface, so this front element group looks pretty good, or this entire group of elements looks to be pretty good. I think, I hope, we'll see. If I'm thinking correctly, this and this should go together and then be placed in here. And from this one, I'll use the main board, the autofocus manual focus switch, eye function button, and so on. Basically, I'm going to be gutting this one and replacing this stuff here with the element here that obviously has this damage on it. It doesn't affect the lens in the front, but the front element is not as clean as this one. Anyhow, let's get to it. Actually, what I'm going to do, because I foolishly took all this apart without sort of understanding the orientation of everything, I'm going to open this one up without taking it apart yet, so that I can see. I'll take off the main board. That way I'll be able to see how this one is put together, and I can line this one up properly. Oh yes, there should be holes that line up with the screw holes. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, alright. So like this. Correct? This should come through here. That has already been there like so. And it has to fall down into place. Am I in? Let's see now, because I have an 18 to 50 right here. Does it look correct? Indeed, it does look correct. Very handy to have all these extra lenses around. I need to separate these two pieces, obviously, because I need to extract just this part from here and transplant, or not transplant, but reuse those gears and have them in lockstep with this gear mechanism right here so that I can control the focal length. Now, playing around with this one, I discovered that it comes apart simply by taking out that little screw that I had that holds it in place here, and then you just all the way to the end and up. Okay, so knowing that, let's do that here. We'll just take that away and we'll be able to disconnect the focal ring from this element group. There we go. There we are. Okay. Oops, let's not lose this, even though I have a couple extras. Okay, now twist all the way to the left, and we're off. How do you like that? Very good. Okay, now let's put this here for a moment and concentrate on, oh Jesus Christ. Jesus. Before I start making any more stupid mistakes, I think what I'm going to do, I haven't done that, they're here now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this down. Take these are the screws. I don't want to lose any, but if I do have several extra. Now that's going to prevent it from coming apart. This has to go on, I believe, like so, right? Exactly. Let's put this back in. Our little sort of locking mechanism goes in a hell of a lot easier than it comes out. Tighten down our screw. I can't believe it. We're getting somewhere. Now again, I have no idea if this is going to work or not, because it all bases itself on the capacity of this ribbon cable. Is this ribbon cable actually good? You know, we shall find out, I guess, once it's all put together. Now, let's put these little gears back on. Look at that. It's all coming together. I certainly do not want to count my chickens before they hatch, as they say, but, you know, this might actually work, I don't know. Now it's just a matter of putting things back together, I guess, eh? It's that simple. It really isn't all that complicated. Okay, this I think goes on like so, right? Does this need to go on? Oh geez, this is the pain in the ass part. Because I'm gonna have to line up this groove to fit exactly with this gear. And that is going to be a challenge. Making sure that it's connected in such a way whereby it falls into place a little bit easier. So I'm going to line it up almost kind of perpendicular to the way I'm sitting here, and I've got this faced in the same orientation, so let's hope that that falls into place. And I gotta watch these bloody ribbons. Damn it, this is gonna be challenging. And I gotta get that ribbon through there. God. Okay, this is the complicated part, surely. You see, there's a teeny little groove here, right here. And this ribbon cable has got to go through it, so that's going to be a pain in the ass. Not only getting it through, but keeping it through. It is sitting. Okay, I think it is lined up. What I need to do is screw this thing down. Screw this down so that it's held in place, because I think I actually have it all lined up at the moment. And if I lose that, it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's sort of by luck that it all happened like that, in a sense. Yes. Yes. I think, I hope. Why the bloody hell did they solder this to the frickin' board? Why couldn't they just make it so it was removable? It would be so much easier. God, that was stupid. Okay, well, I think I am connected. I think everything's all good, I hope. It's hard to tell, but the only question mark is, did I actually get that gear in place? It looks like it's seated flush, I think. Only one way to find out, I guess. I don't know, I'm sort of nervous. I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed. Like it's not gonna work. I have another, possibility. If it doesn't work with that grouping of elements, I could put this one back in and see if that'll do it. And just deal with the stupid crazy glue that's around the lens hood sort of slotted area. All right. Let's try it out, moment of truth. I'm gonna attach it to my NX500 here and see if we can't maybe do something about manually focusing. I don't know what to expect here. I feel almost like I'm gonna be in line for disappointment. Okay. Let's see what happens. It's on autofocus right now. Okay. It's still autofocusing. So that's good news. Okay. Moment of truth. Are we ready? Manual focus. Are we on manual focus? We are on manual focus. Let's see. Oh my God, it worked. It absolutely worked. You see the focus peaking? Look at that. Crossed away. Look at that. What a thing of beauty. I am so happy. I can't believe it worked. To some degree, I can't believe it worked. It was all theoretical. Then I put it together, and here we have it. Another lens. Perfect. Back to autofocus. Let's test the eye function button. Look at that. It all works. Beautiful. My $200 gamble resulted in a camera and two lenses. And one of the lenses was a hard to find expensive one in the 12 to 24. And I got another 18 to 50 out of it. And of course I got the refurbished NX20 that I put together here. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, that was fantastic. I mean, I really couldn't be happier with that. When I first got the box and opened it up and saw all these disheveled lenses and banged up cameras, I thought to myself, shit, did I make a mistake here? Because I just spent, $200 on all these, what looks like a bunch of parts, and I didn't know if I was gonna make anything out of it. But obviously the first thing I did was grab this one, the 12 to 24. It's the only reason I bought it in the first place was entirely for this one lens, and turns out it was a decent gamble. With a little bit of know-how, I was able to fix this. Next thing, fix the camera, the NX20, I got one perfectly working in order, and then as you just saw, I was able to get an 18 to 55 out of it as well, just by sort of Frankensteining everything together from these parts that I had here available. These are all the cameras and parts that I still have left over if I ever need to make any repairs in the future. A lot of these parts, insofar as the circuitry is concerned, is interchangeable, so there might be certain things here that are still usable for me down the line, In any case, I'm very happy with this. I mean, I'm extremely pleased. I just couldn't believe it, to tell you the truth, that it kind of worked in first shot. I was sort of skeptical when I first started recording this video that I was going to get anything out of it, that this 18 to 55 was actually even going to get repaired. It was the only manual focus ring I had out of all the lenses, and it just so happened, luckily, it was intact and it works perfectly well. So that, and I switched the front element so I could get rid of that stupid crazy glue that this idiot put on there, whatever. I don't know whose idea that was, but somebody did that. I cleaned up the crazy glue on the lens hood, and there you have the lens hood too. So, hey, listen, man, that was fantastic. I couldn't be happier about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, watching, me take a bunch of scrap parts and turn it into something, and I'm very pleased with the results of that. So as you know, there are opportunities out there, and with a little bit of know-how, trial and error, tinkering around, you might be able to get yourself a great deal. And I think I scored big time and got a really fantastic deal. So hope you enjoyed that. If you guys didn't watch the other two that I did, the other two videos that I did, repairing the 12 to 24 and repairing the NX20, maybe go back and consider checking those out too. And maybe you learn something from it, just by taking these cameras apart and seeing what they look like on the inside, taking the lenses apart, see what they look like on the inside, and perhaps it'll help you in something that you have as a project for yourself in your own life. So anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace.